Legend Total War here, and today we've got a Rating Your Doomstack video covering a Arguelon Treekin Doomstack. And this one here was marked as kind of an early-ish game Doomstack. It's turn 62 in this campaign, which isn't exactly the early game, so it's kind of like a mid-game Doomstack, I suppose. Going up against the dwarfs here, this looks like endgame crisis stuff. The dwarfs would never normally bring this much stuff by turn 62, so it's got to be endgame crisis. So we've got 3 full stacks of this stuff coming in, and to be able to overcome that on turn 62 with this, I would be very impressed, because the auto resolve is not super strong. However, if we have a look at the Treekins, right, we can see here they've got 20% ward save, 41% physical resistance, and 30% missile resistance, and some flame resistance in there. So magical attacks are definitely going to hurt them. But going up against dwarves, the only thing that's going to have magical attacks are hammerers, which there are a couple of. Now, in terms of the super damaging missile attacks, they're all physical damage. So how much are we going to block that? So we've got 61% physical resistance, and then when you add on missile resistance, we're actually at the missile resistance cap, as long as it's not magic missiles. And funny thing here is that if it's a flame attack, they're actually resistant to it. Well, okay, they're only... It's a bit of a weird thing here. They're 5% weak to the flame attacks there. So the Iron Drakes will do like 86% blocked damage. Alright, let's jump in here and see how it goes. Now, in the past, I've definitely expressed my not fondness for Treekin. To explain why that is because they can be a bit of a finicky unit to work with, because they don't really have the stats that I personally like from a monstrous infantry, or like a monstrous cavalry type unit. They're not fast. They're about the same sort of speed as like Chaos Spawn. I think Chaos Spawn are a bit faster. And their animations, they just sort of stand in place and just sort of flail their arms around. Now, if they're not getting shot, that's okay, but there's so many missile units in the game that can be a problem with that sort of stuff. So not having a lot of speed, in my opinion, means that if they're not going to win outright in the engagement, then you can really struggle to do hit and run, because you just can't outrun the enemy. They are boosted in forest though, so that's useful. I suppose if we have a look, they should be boosted in the forest. It should let us know. You have to do this. I don't know. And then, in terms of like using magic with them, if any entity dies, life magic can't revive it. This is why the Treekin Doomstack is always... Sorry, not Treekin. Tree-Man Doomstack has always been one of my favorites. It's because, like, they're just as fast as Treekin, but what makes them special is because they're a smaller target, because they're not... they're like a very vertical unit. They don't take much surface area on the ground. They can't be hit as much in melee. They're also way more resilient, but also if a unit of Treemen gets almost killed, you can bring it right back up to full health and have it be at full fightingness. But the Treekin, not so much. Now, the Firebark Elder here, this one's got a ability around it to provide extra flame resistance. So as long as he's near them, I suppose they will actually have fire resistance, so that's okay, I guess. I guess he kept the Tree Man from the beginning of the campaign. I can't remember if Durthu keeps that at the start. So what we're going to do here, just blob up in the forest, because we'll be able to use the trees to act as missile block. We'll get, I think, 15% extra melee defense in the forest. I'm not entirely sure. But the reason why you want to blob is because of all the special abilities. What's the trait you got on this one here? Let's have a look. Looking for the trait. Murder of Spites. Cool. Okay, and Durthu is... Yeah, okay, he's... Yeah, it's fine.
Glade Guard Commander!
Alright, so what we want to do here is just lure them over here. So, you stay... Okay, just... Wait. Alright, we got Vanguard deployed for the entire army. Right. Alright.
Glade Captain! Moving out!
Yeah, you definitely want to, as much as possible, try to have them fight in the trees.
Lady of
Have a
Lauren.
look. Yeah, there we go. Melee defense, 115%. Now, a lot of people will read that and think, oh my god, 115% boost? No, it's a 15% boost.
Glade Captain!
Okay? Because it doesn't say plus 115%, it says 115%. I know the game can be a little bit unclear with this kind of stuff, but learning how this game presents the numbers can help you out a fair bit. So if their melee defense is 74, I don't know, they're probably getting about an extra 10 melee defense, roughly. Alright. Are we the attacker or are they the attacker? I should really check this stuff sometimes.
Blessing of Karnos. Following the trail.
Now, once again, I don't want to rely on Dwellers Below. Now, people have been asking, you know, oh, why doesn't he use Dwellers Below in some battles, but in other battles he'll use his entire army? So, when rating a Doomstack, we have to consider a couple of things. If a spell can be used to just destroy the entire army on its own, then it doesn't matter what the unit was. But when the hero is absolutely critical to for just winning the battle, then we can use it. So it really just comes down to impact. Now we know that Dwellers Below can do ridiculous amounts of damage, which is why we try to abstain from using it during these sort of battles. Like, for example, I'm using this hero here because I can't kill off the entire army with this hero. No way.
The hunt begins.
And I'm just letting it shoot at whatever, because all I'm trying to do here is just get them to start chasing after us, because I want them to come over here. But we're hidden, so they don't actually know. We're just waiting for their reinforcements. Not even worrying about, like, Lord sniping or taking out specific units, although Iron Drake Troll Hammer torpedoes are probably a good idea to destroy.
My glorious duty.
Just waiting for them to get organized. So yeah, bounty power is not in our favor here. Now, another thing with this kind of army is that sometimes they can be terrain dependent. Oh, they're just not even trying. Oh, yeah, no, there we go. In that they'll get a lot of resistances depending on whether or not you're in a forest. So we'll have to have a look at that after the battle's over and see what's causing the resistances. Alright, for some reason they just don't want to come at us at the moment. What's the battle difficulty? It should be on very hard. Yeah, it is. Alright, maybe I'll come out of the forest just for a moment. And then just go back into it, because they should pursue us. Because again, I'm not trying to hide from them. I just should be fighting in the forest. Because yeah, there's multiple benefits. If you've got a melee-focused army, even if it doesn't necessarily get a boost in the forest, there's multiple benefits for fighting in the trees, especially if you're going up against a missile-heavy faction, because trees provide missile block. But if you're playing as a missile-heavy faction, you should avoid the trees. So, knowing where to put your army in terms of the terrain can be really helpful. I don't know what's going on here. They just don't want to come at us. Alright, maybe I will cast a spell just to get them to wake up. But I'm really reluctant to try to wipe out their entire army using Dwellers Below. Because you can see, even with magic resistance, that just screws them up so much. Oh man, I don't know what's going on. Okay, I'm just going to move into the next tree area over here, but they just don't seem to be coming at us. Used up all my ammo here, and they are just not interested in coming at us. Maybe it's because they've got artillery superiority, they don't feel like they need to. Alright, I'm not sure if Dwellers Below can take out the cannons here, but let's see. Yeah, that's pretty good. Another one should sort it out. Yeah, it never goes. Okay, yeah, it was the artillery that was causing them to not to come at us. Okay. Alright, now the Glade Captain should probably land in the blob here. See, in Warhammer 2, you just get to fly above it because you couldn't get them to land. But if you put them in the middle, keep them safe. The reason why we want to do that is for the Possessed by the Trickster God. Because if we have a look here, you want to get the Possessed by the Trickster God and the Howl of the Forest if you want to boost their stats as much as possible. Alright, here we go. Now, there's multiple reasons why this army could potentially be stronger in Warhammer 3 than in Warhammer 2. One thing, they do all magical attacks. Now, in Warhammer 2, magic resistance from the dwarfs would be reducing the damage that these guys did, but in Warhammer 3 it doesn't. It's only spell resistance.
Awaiting orders.
So if we have a look over here, we can see that the trees are blocking some of the shots, and we are just not taking much damage at all there, so that's great. Good, they've also got the Resplendence of Luminescence, that's good. I'm not sure where that's coming from. It's not coming from this guy. And then the enemy also have the annoyance of nettling going on there, so they're getting debuffed, we're getting buffed. Now, also, when you put your units inside the trees there, it will be a hidden stat buff. So you won't actually see it on the unit card. Gotta make sure we get in the early heals, because if any one of them dies, like I explained before, I can't revive that unit. So you gotta make sure that they stay at as high health as possible. Just let them shoot, let's see how much we can tank. Because we've got lots of missile resistance, and then we get even more resistance thanks to the trees. You can see the odd shot getting blocked by a tree. So thicker trees than this would be even better. Which this one here would have been better. Or another thing that you can do is move just to the absolute back of the tree. We've got the flames coming in there, but we should be resistant to it because this flame attack here is physical damage. I know a lot of people thought that all flaming attack is magic, but it isn't. Now if we have a look here, the Iron Drakes are, yeah, they're not doing much damage. Well, further debuffs with items. It's good. And you know, they're holding really well so far. You know, Slayers went in there and got absolutely slaughtered. The good thing about this is that you don't need to do any microing, which some people aren't going to enjoy. Some people like to have micro-intensive armies. But a good Doomstack is really just about being idiot-proof. Being able to just pick a spot, sit there, and then just, you know, just heal the ones that get damaged.
Yes, quickly.
So yeah, Dwellers below in here would absolutely fuck them up, but we're trying to rely as much as possible on the tree kin. Oh my god, he's letting his things get shot by Iron Drakes. And as you can see, they're just not doing much damage.
Ready to serve.
We just lost one there, see. They're also really trying to aim for Durthu. Got the Sword of Death ability there. But let's rely on the tree kin. See how they go.
Fear the deep wood.
Durthu can tank a lot, so that's okay. Yeah, we can see here that they're hitting the trees a fair bit as well. Could use something like this one here is taking a fair bit of damage. I'm going to try to move it more into the center. Might be a good idea to pop a regrowth down on Durthu. No need to overcast it, just a regular one will do. And Durthu has found himself outside of the blob. Get back in there. Need you in the center so you can debuff them all. Good. So we've also got Assault of Stone, but I mean that's not a super overpowered ability. I guess we could. Nah, just let the Treekins do it. Okay, see this one over here, right? It was way more damage than this one was when it took a casualty. That's because the damage is getting more evenly spread out. This is the sort of things that makes me a little bit not fond of Treekin, but however I can't deny that they're doing a really good job at the moment. The AI is absolutely obsessed with Lord Sniping in Wormer 3. Okay, now I'm going to need to overcast it. So, putting Durthu in a position where they're just likely to hit more trees, that would be better. Don't forget as well, this is a rating your Doomstack video, not a disaster battle. We're here to test out just how much these guys can take. Because yeah, it'd be so easy to pop down a Dwells Below here and just stop these guys. But we're seeing how much they can actually endure. Alright, this one here needs to be moved to the back. It's just taking too much damage. Now it's starting to take casualties. Yeah, you gotta watch out for lopsided damage. And try to shift out damaged ones for undamaged ones. Let them endure a bit more. Durthu's still getting kind of wrecked here. We're almost out of healing with him. Try to put him behind a big tree. So some of these guys here are getting a good amount of damage. Starting to run low on magic though.
Battle ready.
Still a lot of reinforcements to come. I may actually need a Dwellers Below to win the battle. Because yeah, there's still got a lot of ammunition coming in. They're just going ham on Durthu. I may need to pull him out of this. Alright, no, we're supposed to be relying on this. Because this will just do an excessive amount of damage due to the blob. Okay, so keep staying at the back there. And now I'm really determined not to do another Dwellers Below. Alright, let's get Durthu out of here. Which is pretty funny because look, they're sending their forces to specifically go after Durthu. They're going to end up in melee with the Tree King. Let's go sit down over there.
Fear the deep wood. Blade Captain.
Oh, we can get a bit more winds of magic through this. It's cool. But yeah, I do understand that sometimes my selection of abilities can seem arbitrary. It really just comes down to impact. I don't want to be using something that's going to delete the army in one shot. Whereas I'll use something that really isn't going to have that big of an impact. Okay, let's get these guys out of here as well. They're out of regen. We've got some in here that are just barely fighting. Fatigue on them is all good. Aspect of the Willow I think is the right call for the extra melee defense. You lose a little bit of armor piercing but gain bonus versus infantry, but I think that's okay.
Yours to command.
Organ guns coming in now.
Blade Captain!
Yeah, if they just get over there, they'll hide. And you can see the AI's not really trying to pursue. Another thing to keep in mind now is that with the changes to Endgame Crisis, the dwarves now have all of their technologies. So these guys here, well, sorry, the Endgame Crisis races have all their technologies researched. So these dwarves are fully teched up, which would have normally been impossible by turn 60. Well, virtually impossible. Actually, they've got like 80 tech, so yeah, it would be impossible. Oh yeah, this one here is Murder of Spites, isn't it? But again, we're not trying to rely on that too much. I think another thing to point out with, to note a really good Doom stack is by winning the battle well, while not even achieving its full potential. Whereas like other Doom stacks that you have to use all of them to its full potential just to get the win. They're not quite as good. I think there's always got to be some degree of just holding back a little bit to really express how good a Doom stack actually is. Bounce power's looking good. Enemy reinforcements. Still got a lot coming in. But we're slowly gaining. Almost out of wins though. Might be a good idea now to start actually pushing back against them. There's not that many melee infantry, and we should really start charging in on all these missile units now. We got the hint. You know, they can resist a lot of damage. But now let's push a bit.
Blade Captain! For the Kingman! I will! I must!
Yeah, just not much does damage to them. Now this guy's in here, inflicting tons of damage really quickly because of Mortis Engine. This guy's got a heal as well, but it's not as good as the Life Wizard. Yeah, so they don't really kill the enemy forces quickly, but they are very durable, which is definitely a good strength to have. It also makes it relatively easy to heal them if they're taking damage slowly.
To arms!
This really shouldn't be in melee.
Awaiting orders.
Alright, I got 2 more heals I can do before we completely run out of magic. Alright, that looks like the last of their reinforcements. Alright, let's now try to push through them. Get these missile units. So look at those Iron Drakes, they did... That's not really that much damage, considering we've just been letting them shoot us. So yeah, these guys here really helping out with that fire resistance. Now, these guys here would be extremely weak against Sisters of Avalon, for example, because of the magic and flaming attack. But because this is physical fire, it's not that big of a deal. So without the trees to protect us, we're getting hit more often, but it's still just not really doing that much damage. Alright, last heal. Make it count on you. Okay, let's push and really try to get at those artillery at the back there, because that's where all their remaining balance of power really lies. Don't worry too much about these guys here, they're just there kind of slowing us down. Gotta continuously give the order to just keep moving, or else they will, they'll just stand and fight here. Push through, push through. And there's the army losses there. Yeah, I couldn't quite get to the back line, but for the most part, the damage is fairly evenly spread out. There's no unit below 14 troops. These guys here are a bit damaged, though. Single entities. So the tree man only did 2,400 damage, but the AI is more likely to try and target him than the treekin. But the treekin did way more damage overall. Look at this one here, 300 kills. Funny thing is, in this army here, you might actually be better off getting rid of that tree man. Although, if it's providing the annoyance of netlings, and that is a very useful ability. There we go. So what we'll do now is just go and see what's making them this strong. And whether or not this is like a good army to use when not in a forested area. Because sometimes these doomstacks are especially good in a small number of situations. Like, if you took this army out to the desert, it might be complete crap. We saw that even when we took them out of the forest, they were still pretty effective. Because, yeah, the units just couldn't do any damage to us. Just 6 casualties. And, you know, if we had magic, we definitely could have healed these two, but Dirty was at his max cap. And again, this is only turn 62 or something. So that's very good. So we can fully heal. Let's grab that. And now let's have a look at the situation. Are we on the attack or are they on the attack? What's going on? They're on the attack, okay. Please don't attack again. Oh, God. One battle's enough. But, you know, I need the army to survive so I can actually have a look at it. That's why I popped their battle difficulty down to easy. Because the auto-resolve is, like, so in the player's favor. Yeah, one thing you could probably do is like play on very hard battle difficulty to try to lure the AI to launch attacks on you, and then switch it down to easy battle difficulty to auto-resolve it. Or it seems like they'll still make the attack even on easy battle difficulty. I'm not 100% sure how it works. But one thing I can definitely tell you is that easy and normal battle difficulty, mega cheats for the player. Mega cheats. Okay. Oh wow, look at that, nearly fully recovered. So we're definitely standing in a this stuff here. Oh my god, these freaking notifications. Okay. We're standing in a light forest, and I think that does make a difference. Because if we have a look at Glade Captain, let me have a look here. Some of its abilities, Kinbad Captain. Right, so well, that's not going to matter. Charge bonus during forest battles. The thing is with forest battles, I'm not sure if that means inside the forest or whether it's like a forest intercept battle. The game can be a little bit unclear about that. So what about this one here? Yeah, physical resistance 5% during forest battles. So we saw they were at 41% before. Now they're at 26%. So yeah, something was boosting them. So that's just always going to be provided. I'm pretty sure other Treeman Lords have that. Let me just confirm that. Yeah. So any Tree Lord can give the extra ward save for Treekin units. And what you could potentially do is get more than one Branch Wraith for the physical resistance, but that's only during forest battles. Okay, so what if we attack this one here? We saw that it was at 41% before. Now it's not a forest battle. We can see it's still at 26%. So we were getting an extra 15% physical resistance from something. Does this one here provide anything? No, I don't think this one does anything for the army. It's just a healer. Yeah. But still, even if we drop down a little bit of physical resistance, you're still going to always keep that ward save. So looking at them right now, they have 46% physical resistance, and they still got that 30% missile resistance. In terms of technologies, he's done a fair bit. There's some in here that will give us extra missile resistance, and I think there's fire resistance in here as well for them somewhere. Just not sure. Is that it there? Yeah, fire resistance for Dryad, Treekin, and Treeman units. So these units here haven't even reached their full potential. But yeah, they did really well against dwarfs, for sure. Really, really good. So in terms of rating this, how practical is this? This is actually very practical because it doesn't rely too heavily on heroes. It's easy to get Aspect of the Willow because you could just do that and switch as needed. Treekin are, I believe, tier 3 units. No, tier 2 units, so very easy to get them. Get them very early on in your campaign. And in terms of expenses, they are not overly expensive. And this is here with 10 supply lines there. So that is not overly expensive at all. Looking at the difference between Treeman and Treekin, yeah, they're significantly cheaper. And that's with Durthu as well. They'll be more expensive with other lords, because Durthu does reduce upkeep costs of Forest Spirits by 30%. Forest units are Dryads, Treekin, and Treemen. Oh, I think maybe the Zotes also count as Forest Spirits now. Yeah. So yeah, so very practical, super strong, and really easy to use. High 9s sort of numbers. I'm not going to give an exact number. That's up to you guys. You guys decide for yourself what you want to rate this in terms of numbers. But I want to try to avoid doing number ratings these days, because I just don't think that helpful. But yeah, very good Doomstack. Works pretty well in Warhammer 3. I think it's actually better in Warhammer 3 than it was in 2. The only downside, I think, in 3 is that you have much less Winds of Magic reserves, is what I'm trying to say. So that leads to a lot more limited healing. Whereas in Warhammer 2, while you couldn't heal quite as quickly, you could heal more throughout the course of a battle because you'd have like 200, 300, 400 reserves playing as Wood Elves. Anyway, that's the end of this one here, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learnt something from it. Appreciate you, and I'll see you next time, fuckers. Bye.